The fantasy football season is slowly approaching, as well as the fantasy football draft. I'm going to help you guys make sure that you can secure the best lineup you possibly can. Let's get right to it. What's going on today, YouTube? Veggie checking back in with you guys again from Mod Life and Hero Spell Studios. Appreciate you guys for showing love. As always, let's get right into today's video. In today's video, I'm going to be going through my 5 tips on how to draft the best players you can, how to draft in fantasy football, and secure the best team that you can possibly obtain by the fantasy draft. I'm going to give you 5 tips. Tip number 1, understand your draft position. If you are in the top 3 spots of your draft position, you have to go running back heavy in those spots. There's heavy hitters in the running back slots, Alvin Kamara, Dalvin Cook, Derrick Henry, that if they're available, you have to take them. If you're in the last few spots, I would go wide receiver heavy because you're going to go back to back, and you could have a chance at scoring Devontae Adams and Justin Jefferson, just as examples. But you could get high-quality wide receivers, very possibly bat-to-bat, to secure your wide receiver 1 and wide receiver 2 spot. Step number 2, that leads me into rounds 2, 3, and 4. Here it gets a little dicey because players start falling off the board. You know, you wanted the guy, and then he gets taken right before your chance is up. So, don't worry, don't panic. Here's what you're going to do. You are going to take a risk. You're going to be nervous, and you're like, oh, I don't want to take this guy. Take the guy, whoever that may be. If you have a gut feeling, take it. Rounds 2, 3, and 4 are all luck. Cooper Kupp is he was a highly, a drafted player last year, obviously, but nobody anticipated him to have the year that he had. Every single year is different. You never know who's going to pop off. You never know who's going to be a dud. You have to be able to take risks in the draft to be able to succeed later down the road. Step number 3, don't take tight ends unless it's Travis Kelce, Darren Waller, or George Kittle. Don't take them. You can find guys later in the rounds that will suffice at the tight end position besides those 3. If Travis Kelce is available round 2 and 3, you got to take him. That guy's a stud, and he's going to keep being a stud until he stops playing. Darren Waller is the same way. I digress on George Kittle. George Kittle tends to get hurt a lot, so you can maybe fill in that spot for Mark Andrews, but George Kittle's still a good tight end when he's in there, so you understand what I'm saying. If the tight ends are there, take them, but there's only about 3 or 4 tight ends really in the league that suffice for rounds 2 and 3. You can find tight ends later in the draft and even pick tight ends off waiver wires that will help your team succeed. Quarterbacks go along the same line of spectrum. There's about 3 or 4 quarterbacks that are really high, volatile players. Mahomes, Rodgers, Brady, Lamar Jackson. You can even put Jalen Hurts in that category. But like I said, if the running back / wide receiver / flex players are there, take those guys first and don't rely on the quarterback tight end spots. Now on to tip number 4, the kicker position. Some leagues don't have kickers or defense. So if that's your league, don't worry about it. You can go ahead and skip right to step number 5. But if your league does have kickers and defense, don't let that phase you. Kickers and defenses come in very few and far between, and some defenses and kickers really don't come on until you need them to work in the playoffs or later in the season. Don't get too upset with yourself, if you don't score the Bucs defense or the Rams defense or something. I'm sure you're going to be just fine. Don't let it, get to your head. If there's a player that you like in round 7, 8, take them. Don't worry about the defense. You don't need to worry about the defense in round 6. The defenses will come when the draft ends, whether it's round 9, 10, 11, whatever. I don't know how big everybody's league is, but in the later rounds, the defenses and kickers will be available to pick. That is when you pick them. Don't pick them early because you're giving up value in your flex and bench positions. Don't sleep on your bench positions because you never know when you might need them. On to my last and final tip, number 5, have fun with it. It's fantasy football. If you're not having fun, then there's no point playing it. Keep having fun. And that's how I'm going to end today's video. Keep having fun. Remember those 5 tips. I hope everybody likes playing fantasy football as much as I do. That's why we do these videos, week in and week out for you guys to hopefully show love and show support for the fantasy football community and people that love the sport. Appreciate everybody for tuning in today. Veggie checking out. Like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you, everybody. Hope you have a good day.